we're going to start off talking about slope. How many of you guys have seen slope before? Right? We've all had it before. So, slope is, what is slope?
Well, rise over run.
That's the formula. Rise over run is how we find slope. What else?
I think I can get the slope of that.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 over 4. Is that what I think?
Right. So what does that mean? That the slope of it is 2 over 4. What have we found? So some people say if you have a line, it's how steep the line is, which is definitely true. Another way to look at it is things change all the time in the world, right? Everything changes all the time. You're getting A's in your class, and you buy this, I don't know, like this new video game, and it's so awesome. You're spending 12 hours a day playing it, and all of a sudden, in a month, your grade goes from an A to a C, right? So your grade changed from an A to a C by like 20 points over a month, okay? How fast that change happened, that's your slope. That's what slope is. So now you decide, okay, I'm going to put this game away for good. So you start concentrating on your homework and on your class, and eventually you raise your grade back up to an A, you get those 20 points back, but it takes you 3 months, okay? So first, there was a change of 20 points over a month. Now there is a change of 20 points over 3 months, okay? That is slope. It's how fast that change happened. It's how quickly the change in the 20 points happened. You see what I mean? So that's really what slope is, okay? All right. On a graph, we can find slope by looking at 2 points, and we have a formula which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you haven't memorized this yet, today's the day, okay? So starting tomorrow, we all need to know what the formula for slope is. We also say that it's the rise over the run. Okay, so same situation. It's the rise over the run. We always look at these points from the point further to the left to the point further to the right. And you ask yourself, how do you go from the point to the left to the point to the right? Well, you have to go up a little bit, and you have to go over a little bit. And how much you went up over how much you went over is another way to find your slope. Okay, so let's find slope of these points here. Whenever you have 2 coordinates, just go ahead and label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Now it becomes easy. All you have to do is plug it into the formula. The formula is y2 minus y1. So 2 minus 8 over 4 minus negative 3. This is negative 6 over 7. That's your slope, negative 6 over 7. Slope is given in fractions, and they have to be simplified fractions. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. x1, y1, x2, y2. M is negative 5 plus 5 over 6 minus 3. This is 0 on top, 3 on the bottom. What does that equal to? 0. Okay? In this case, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So M is negative 6 minus 1, over 8 minus 8. So this is negative 7 over 0. What is that? Undefined. Okay, so look at the difference between the two here. In one case, you get a slope of 0, and we call this 0 slope, When it's undefined, we say it's no slope. Okay? So whenever you get something over 0, you have to write the word undefined or UND. Okay? And the meaning of it is no slope. You cannot interchange 0 slope with no slope because they mean very, very different things. Okay? This is 0. This is just something that cannot be explained. It's undefined. Okay, we'll talk more about what that means in a little bit. Okay, so here we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope is what over what? 1 minus 3 over 2 plus 4. Negative 2 over 6, which you have to simplify to negative 1 over 3. Okay? Questions? All right. So another way you can find slope is using the graph like Dylan was doing earlier. We want to find the slope of line L. This is line L. Basically what you're going to do is pick 2 points. And we always try to pick points that are, on the corner of the grid, right? In this case, the points are already picked for us. So we start with the point further to the left, this one, and go to the point further to the right. Okay? Now, to go from this to this point, what do I have to do? I have to go down a little bit, right? How much did I go down? 2 units. And because I went down and not up, it's negative 2. And I also have to go over a little bit. How much did I go over? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I went in the positive direction to the right, it's a positive 4. Now, my slope is rise over run, negative 2 over 4, which is negative a half. Anybody know why slope has the symbol M and not S? Right, but why is it M and not Sx plus B? So M is for the Latin word mutare, which means change. Remember we talked about how slope talks about how fast change happens? That's why it's M. So if you're ever on Jeopardy and you get that question right, you can credit me on TV, please. I want credit on the air, okay? All right. So here we want to go from the point further to the left to the point further to the right. This time I'm going to go up 2 points. When I go up, it's positive 2. When I go to the right, it's positive, and how many units? 1, 2, 3. So the slope here is 2 over 3. Okay? Questions? All right. So let's talk about what the different types of slope means. We have found slope several times now. Sometimes for the slope we got a negative value. Sometimes we got a positive value. Sometimes we got 0 or undefined. These are the 4 possibilities. Okay? Now, just like the points, lines in math are also read left to right. If you look at this one, this line, from left to right, the line is going up. Okay? It's increasing. That means it has positive slope. Okay? The line increases from left to right. When the slope is negative, then the line decreases. Okay? So this is the positive case is when your grades were going up. This is when your grades are going down, let's say. All right? 0 slope, you get a horizontal line. Okay? So what happens here? Suppose you have a horizontal line like this and the slope is 0. If you tilt the line up a little bit, you have a higher slope. So like slope is a half. You tilt it up a little bit more, now the slope is a 1. And then, the slope is a 5. and the slope is 10, and then the slope will be 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000 and 1,000,000,000,000. And as that happens, the line is going further and further up. It's getting closer and closer to becoming a vertical line. Finally, the slope gets to be such a huge number that it cannot be defined. Okay? It's infinite. It's infinity. And we don't know what infinity is. That's when you get a vertical line, and that's why the slope is undefined. Okay? So undefined slope means the value of the slope itself, it's huge. It's infinity huge. Okay? So this is when slope is undefined. So basically you have some number over 0, and you also call it no slope. Okay? And like we said earlier, slope can be also explained as the rate of change. How quickly change happens. Okay? So the car goes from 0 to 60 in what? 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look at this one. In 2000, the annual sales for one manufacturer of camping equipment was $48.9 million. In 2005, the total sales were $85.9 million. So the sales went up from 48.9 to 85.9 million. If the sales increase at the same rate, what will be the total sales in 2015? So in order to do this, first we have to find the rate. Okay? And what's another word for rate? Slope. Yes. Yeah.
Is the answer 159.9?
I think so. In this lesson. Okay. So, in the beginning, it's 2000, and the sales is 48.9 million. Okay? Towards the end, it's then 2005, and the sales is 85.9. Now we can find the rate, or the slope, because this now becomes x1, y1, x2, y2. So remember, whenever you're graphing anything, the x-axis is always time, okay? So you always put it in for the x-coordinate. So to find the slope here, or the rate, it's going to be 85.9 minus 48.9 over 2005 minus 2000. So this is how much? 37 over 5. Now, what does that mean? This means it changed $37 million. It changed by $37 million over 5 years. Okay, now when we divide that, what do we get? 37 divided by 5, what do we get? Anybody? When you divide that, what do we get? It's 7.4. So we get that it changed by 7.4 million per year. Okay? So that's the rate per year. Now, we want to know how much we're going to end up with in 2015. Okay? So we start at 85.9 million in 2005. Okay? So, let's write that down. 85.9, that's how much we started with, plus every year we're adding 7.4 million. Hang on. Okay? From 2005 to 2015 is 10 years, right? So we're adding 7.4 per year for 10 years, okay? And we want to know how much does that add up to, okay? So this is the starting. And the reason why I chose the 10 is because mentally that math is easier, because now that becomes 74. So 74 plus 85.9 is 159.9. So in 2015, if it continues at the rate that it is, the sales will be $159.9 million. Okay? If you don't include the million, points should be taken off because, you know, the sales isn't just $160, right? It's a lot more than that. Okay? So that's the final answer. Now, we could have also said that the starting point is 48.9, this one, and then went up 15 years. You would have gotten the same answer. But this is just easier for mental math. Okay, here are some postulates. If you have two non-vertical lines and they have the same slope, they are parallel. All right? So if two lines are parallel, then they have the same slope. If two lines are perpendicular, then the product of their slopes is -1. What does that mean? The slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. Okay? So what does that mean? Suppose I have a line, the slope of which is 3/2. What should another number be so that their product is -1? -2/3. So when two lines are perpendicular, this is how their slopes are related to each other. Okay? All right, so here we have, it says determine whether AB and CD are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, and then graph the lines. So to do this, first I need to determine the slope of AB and then of CD. So let's find the slope of AB. And I can say M subscript AB like this, okay, is 7 minus -5 over 4 plus 2. This is 12 over 6. It's 2. Okay? 2 over 1. It's line AB. Now, to find the slope of CD, it's going to be -2 minus 2 over 8 minus 0. This is -4 over 8, -1 over 2. So look at the slopes. Is the product of the slopes -1? Yes, right? One is the negative reciprocal of the other. That means AB, sure enough, is perpendicular to CD. Okay, so let's graph them. A is at -2, -5. B is at 4, 7. When we graph these, I hear some of you using a ruler, which is exactly what you should be doing on the test, on the homework, okay? So A and B. And now I have C and D. C is at 0, 2. And D is at 8 and -2.
Doesn't matter which one you call C and D.
Yes, because it's defined for you. Okay? And because we now know that they're perpendicular, I have to put the symbol there. Okay? Questions? You guys are remembering the good old algebra days? All right. So let's graph this one. We have a slope of -2, and the line passes through this point. This is what we start with. Okay, so first we plot -3, 0. Whoops, this way. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I got -3, 0 is over there. I got confused with y equals mx plus b. Okay, so now I need a slope of -2. What does slope of -2 mean? It means it's -2/1. That means I go down 2 and to the right 1. Okay, so I go down 2 to the right 1. Okay, so my line looks like this. With a ruler, it'll look perfect. Not like the one I drew. Okay? Questions? This contains point P and -1, so this is what I start with. And it says that it's perpendicular to JK with these points. When it says that it's perpendicular, this is giving me information on my slope. Okay? So let's just plot P first. It's x equals -2, y equals 1 right there. That's P. Okay? Now, the slope of JK is -2 plus 4 over 0 plus 5. This is 2 over 5. The line I want is perpendicular to this. So the slope of the perpendicular line is -5 over 2. That's my slope. Okay? That means I'm going to go down 5 and to the right 2. So from this point, I go down 5 and to the right 2. Right there. Okay? So that's where my second point is. Way off. Okay? The next one contains this point, so that's what I start with. And now it's parallel to MN. Parallel means...
Oh, no, I thought I understood the other one. Where did you go down for the line perpendicular? From what point did you go 5 down?
From this initial point, I went down 5 and over 2.
Oh.
Okay? So here, the slope of line MN is 2 minus 0 over 1 minus 5, 2 over -4, which is -1/2. So what's the slope of the parallel line? -1/2. Okay, they're the same slope. So now, what point do I put first? Right, I put A first, which is 6, 4. Now, I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 2 to my second point there. Okay? So it will look like this. And do extend it a little bit more, those lines. The last one is, I think, my favorite. So we have a line, we need a line with undefined slope. What does that mean? What type of line is it? It's a vertical line that passes through this point. So that's what I put first. Okay? -3, -4 is where my point goes. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. This is the first point. And now I need a vertical line that passes through it. So there. Okay? So this homework will be due for the next class.